People can be so cruel to each other that sometimes it's easy to think that animals have more humanity than humans do. The story we will tell you today proves that animals can be kinder and fairer towards a person than even other people. Rowan had been a hunter all his life. Many years ago, he built a small house in the deep taiga forest, and almost every weekend he would go there to hunt and take a break from the city. This year, he was 70 years old. He wasn't as strong as he used to be, but he was still strong enough to get to his forest home by skiing several miles through the forest. This time, he was going to spend about a week there, so he took a lot of food with him and set off. The wind was so strong that Rowan could hardly stand up straight. He continued to press on in hopes he could make it home to light the stove before it got dark. As he was approaching the house, he noticed the tracks of an animal in the snow, although animals usually don't come so close to a person's home. Then he saw a small wolf pup on the porch, curled up and sleeping peacefully. He awoke at the sound of the man's approach, then got up and rushed into the forest. Rowan took pity on the animal, so after he lit the stove in the house, he brought some food back outside to feed the wolf pup. He saw him not far from the house, near a tree. So as not to frighten the animal away again, Rowan left the treat on an old stump a safe distance away. Hunger took over, and the wolf pup approached the food and began eating. After getting his fill, the small animal turned and went into the forest. Later in the evening, Rowan heard some rustling on his porch. When he opened the door, he saw his new gray friend timidly enter the house and curl up next to the stove. The man did not drive him out, but instead allowed him the opportunity to warm up and rest. The next morning, the wolf pup went back into the forest. However, each night from then on, he would return to the man's home to sleep by the stove. When it was time for Rowan to return to the city, he made sure to leave plenty of food for the pup. Rowan became ill and was unable to return to the house in the forest. Several months passed, and as soon as he recovered, the first thing he did was go back to the forest because he was looking forward to seeing the wolf pup. However, upon arrival, he couldn't find him. All of the food had been eaten, but there were no new traces of the beast. That evening, Rowan was alone in the house, missing the animal. Then he heard a rustling on the porch. Could it be him? Opening the door, the man was surprised to see several men who, judging by the clothes they were wearing, had escaped from prison and were now looking for shelter. They forced their way into the house, began to rudely rummage through all the closets and cupboards in search of clothes and food, ignoring the old man entirely. At Rowan's protests, one of the men took out a knife and started to attack him. No one could predict what would happen next. The door flung open and a young wolf rushed inside towards Rowan's attacker. The man managed to stab the wolf with his knife, causing the wolf to yelp and then run away. But then a huge she-wolf appeared, likely the young wolf's mother. In 1 second, she neutralized the attacker. Rowan ran out of the house to his wolf pup who was lying in the snow. He pulled him to himself, but it was too late. The wolf's lifeless body sagged in his arms. Rowan sat on the ground and cried for a long time, holding the one who had saved his life. The she-wolf remained in the house and did not allow the other escaped prisoners to leave until Rowan called the police, who arrived to take them away. Afterwards, Rowan was left alone. He wept bitterly, remembering how he first saw this gray wolf pup sleeping on his porch. He cried, thinking about how not a single animal had ever caused him so much pain and suffering as those people had. That is all for today. Thank you for watching.